Just getting here. Yeah, I think I need to go get back on DDO. Yesterday I got a lot of, I got overheated yesterday, almost had heat stroke. So today I'm just chilling in front of an air conditioner, waiting for my doctor to get back to me. What y'all been up to?
No, it's a serious question, as you might not identify.
Is that your dad?
Yeah, that's my dad.
This man right here's your father. Right there.
You have a question about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you get back on Dungeons and Dragons,
He's an Afro-American male.
work my barbarian.
I mean, I don't know what you're implying.
Are you African-American?
I don't understand the question.
This strike me as a terribly hard question. I asked the first fellow, you identify as African-American? He's black. Yeah, that's Rachel Dolezal. She's like, I don't get the question, bro.
I did tell you that, yes, that's my dad. And he was unable to come in January.
Are your parents, are they white?
I'm
Saying you're Puerto Rican, does that mean that you can't be racist because you're saying you're a woman of color? Is that what you mean?
exactly.
So this young squirrel rat's answer is I'm a minority. I can do no wrong. Leave me alone, Phil.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be.
Well, hell, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I've been going through a lot too. Yeah. My dad passed away in Thanksgiving. And ever since I got this job, everything's just been going hectic. They kept passing me over for general manager at this job because they said I don't have transportation and how far away I live. Said I don't have transportation, how far away I live. I said I'm 6 miles away, and it takes me roughly 45 minutes to get there if I hoof it. So you're saying I live in the ghetto and I'm poor. No, that's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. We're saying because of how far you live away and that you don't have transportation. I was like, no, I get it. I'm poor and I live in the ghetto. That's exactly what y'all trying to tell me. You put all your rich people words in whatever order you want, but that's what you're saying. You're poor and live in the ghetto. That's why you made a 18-year-old high school stoner general manager over me. Because according to that stoner, he was made manager because he's trainable. At my age, I've been given my opportunities, so screw him. That's literally what was said to me when it came to that. It's a car wash. It's a new car wash that just opened up here in Oklahoma. And it's one of those automatic car washes, and it's been since September. I was hired the last week of September, and we had 3 stoner managers, and they already quit. They wanted to make an alcoholic the manager, but everyone threatened to quit if they did. It's like, really, you're gonna make this guy, the guy who can't show up to work sober, you want him to be your general manager? Yeah, we all threatened to quit, and he got caught drinking on the job, and the customers didn't like it. But he quit. He didn't get fired, he quit. Because as a punishment, they put him down to 1 day a week. But that's the guy they wanted to be the general manager. Now, me, I just, everybody keeps saying, you put yourself in your position, you get what you reap what you sow because you put yourself in your position. I said, no. Society chooses for me based on the zip code I was born in. That's how it works. They control where I work, how much I make, how I get to work. There's no public transportation here. Yeah, they control how much money I owe to who for what reason. It's bullshit. This everything's gone to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, I need to get back on DDO so I can get back to killing people. Seriously, I need to take my aggression out on something. I am the manager though. As soon as I brought up a lawyer, I told them, I said, it's discrimination. I don't care if it has anything to do with skin color, religion, anything like that. Oklahoma's an at-will state. They can fire me for any reason they want. But when you just point blank tell me, oh, you're poor and living together, you're not going to be a manager. As soon as I said the word lawyer, they texted me on my day off and said, oh, you're a manager now. It's like, oh, wow. Gee, thank you for your leavings. Yeah, I'm looking for another job actively. I can't handle this one. And yesterday, I was going to bed throwing up liquid and bile, and for the past 3 days, I've been sweating and sweating, and it's heat exhaustion. I almost had heat stroke. So I told them today I'm sitting in front of my AC. I'll bring a doctor's note in tomorrow, because I gotta see the doctor like every 2 weeks. I got Charlie horses all over my body. My arthritis is acting up. I ain't got much longer on this earth. I know that much. I ain't got that much longer at all. And I thought I'd come online and chill with people who actually give a damn, And I know you actually give a damn. Physical or mental, and what state? Because here in Oklahoma, they don't do physical disability. If they did, I would have been approved back in 2007. But in Oklahoma, all you have to do is drop out of high school. Seriously. We got a couple people at the car wash. They are collecting disability, but not for physical. But yeah, my wife has a nephew, and he dropped out of 9th grade special education. That's why he's getting it. So yeah, Oklahoma, you get it for mental, but not physical. You can have both legs cut off, and the judges here in Oklahoma will tell you there are 11 judges you can find. Well, give me that list of 11 judges then. Oh, well, hell, if it's both, then you should. You're gonna get hooked up. But me, I don't know. Maybe I have to see my wife's nephew. He gets it. And this dude straight up just killed his wife and admitted to that shit in public. And yeah, he was approved. So that Governor Stitt's a dickhead. I wish somebody would just straight boot his ass quick. What happened? Were you in an accident? Because Oklahoma disability is pretty easy if you can file the paperwork right, and because I know people who are totally normal in the head but are collecting it for mental. See, okay, I was in my car accident in 2007. I rolled my S10 4 times on 177, and believe it or not, even though I was the only vehicle involved, I hydroplaned on a water, just like a 1-inch puddle of water, and the cop gave me a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. But the weird thing about that is, if I were wearing my seatbelt, then my OU umbrella would have punctured my head going through the windshield. The door would have cut off my leg, and I would have been dead. So, yeah, me not wearing a seatbelt saved my life. But the cops don't want to tell the kids about that, do they? No, it's all about money with these people. I've been fighting the Oklahoma system for years now. And Governor Stitt's running for office again, that's a big hell no to me. That rhino needs to get. But yeah, for the past 2 months, every time I try to go to bed, I get Charlie horses in my thigh, in my chest, in my arms, the back of my arms, my whole body, Charlie horses. And it gets to the point I cannot even lay down straight. I have to find this weird pretzel position to lay in where my body's not Charlie horsing on me. It's painful. And I finally, because the whole pandemic thing, Oklahoma was forced to give me insurance. Now I got a doctor looking into everything to see what he could do about my asthma, arthritis, gastroenteritis, heart murmur, and everything that's piled on top of these. See, and I just woke up like maybe an hour and a half ago, and whenever I do this to my hand and I relax it, that happens. I cannot unlock my finger. My arthritis is getting to the point where my hands are becoming unusable. And that's scaring me too. The only way to get it is if I break it out. Yeah, so and I think that this hand particularly is doing that because that's the hand I use my mouse with whenever I'm playing video games and stuff. And I think that just took its toll, and my knuckles are growing out on me. So I took up the Rubik's Cube, and I've been solving these things. They're pretty fun. I got 3 of them so far. So, Dungeons and Dragons Online. I think I'll be getting on here a bit later. I've been playing Ultima Online and SimCity. SimCity really calms my nerves a lot. I don't know if y'all can hear me. This is a new microphone. I got it out of one of my paychecks, and I was like, hey, I like that. That's pretty tight. But if I turn this off right here, there's what my voice really sounds like.
I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
What organizing looks like. This is what building power looks like. This is what changing the country looks like.
My friends, this world-class theater. Marie was really good at it. She could go in and out. She was a pro. AOC's learning. She gets a pass because she's a lady. She's Puerto Rican. She gets the pass on with pandering. Grew up in the South. Around all sorts of cultures. I tried that. I would be canceled.
But resist, we much, we must, and we will much about that because
It's hard to capture the astonishment that the entire North Polar ice cap during some of the summer months could be completely.
that polar ice cap, oh my God. Oh my God. They said once the polar caps melted, then the seas would rise like a good foot and everything would be flooded.
Hell, North Pole ain't even there anymore. Seas ain't rising, they're going away.
Islands are gonna tip over.
These people are crazy.
Rich people aren't gonna buy a house on the beach anymore.
And every time the science mixes up with them, they always change their story.
Lightest level is what, 12 miles from shore to shore? But nothing else.
Yeah, ever since I got this job, though, I haven't been doing much. Been actually looking for a reason to keep going on. This whole thing is, I swear to God, the people that come to this car wash, I'm telling you, they get their cars washed when their car is already clean. They get their car washed in the rain, in the snow. I mean, we got people who come in every day just for the aesthetic of it. We got people who buy monthly plans who make it a point to show up every day. And there are days where, if it's raining, we have to stay closed. These people pull up just to see if we're open. I mean, I understand a good car wash, you know, because back in my day, my stepdad would get a car wash and he'd make a day out of it. Like, we get the cooler, put some popping beers in it or something. He'll drink the beers, kids drink the pop. We go to the car wash, unload a bunch of quarters in it, and we'd all have fun washing the car. It was a thing. Today, washing a car is like getting a damn Happy Meal. And the people don't care how clean their car is. They want their car to come in. And they don't understand how erosion works. So when they come in, they're like, look at my paint job. Look what your car wash is doing to my paint job. Lady, we told you. All right, if you're coming in every day, then you're constantly flooding your car with this water. And every time the water hits it, it erodes that paint. And your paint will wear, and it will go away. Then we got the people who come in, my antenna's gone. It's like, first off, we have a sign that says we are not liable for antennas because you know that this car wash has a lot of moving parts that could rip antennas off. So that's not on us, that's on you. Then we got the people, oh my God, I honestly thought going into a car wash, it's like, this is gonna be the easiest cake job I've ever had. Nah, see, customers will ruin a job. They will. But I gotta hand it to those customers out there, the ones who tip you, the ones who like, hey, get that mud off me, here's a 10 spot for you. It's like, I love those people. They make it worth going. Hell, a good night, you can bring home $30 in tips. But then there are the days, like yesterday, it's just hot all fucking day, and I was sweating all fucking day. And I must have dropped 10 pounds in the first 2 hours of sweating. Some of the customers thought I was wet. I was like, nah, that's not wet, that's sweat. Here in this car wash tunnel, it is 20 degrees hotter inside here than it is outside. So that means whenever the water does hit your car, it's evaporating into steam almost immediately. And that's not enough. What happens to that steam? It's like I'm standing in a sauna all day. And me, I'm a Mountain Dew fanatic. So the more Mountain Dew I drink, the more dehydrated my body is getting. So I gotta switch up to water. And once I switch up to water, I start rehydrating my body. And I keep going from that extreme heat to the extreme cold, the air conditioner on the inside. And that will damage your body. Seriously, yesterday I was at the point, I was about ready to start having seizures, having convulsions and shit. I'm tired of working, seriously. And the Social Security people said that there are 11 jobs I can perform, but they wouldn't give me the list of the 11 jobs. They said there has to be something wrong with me mentally before they'll accept me. I was like, whatever. I said, I'm not going to play crazy to get free money. That's not even going to help because the cost of living today, it'll take 2 damn SSI checks just to pay the damn bills. But that's a Governor Stitt thing there. Governor Stitt, he pissed me off. I wrote Governor Stitt a letter, and I was asking for some help. I said, I have a judicial matter here where they used plagiarism in court, openly lied in court, violated my First Amendment rights in court, telling me I cannot worship as I choose, celebrate the holidays I choose the schooling that I choose. And I told him the whole story. I was like, first and foremost, I should not be in this courtroom because every reason I'm here violates a constitutional right on some level. He gives me 2 emails. He sends me 2 emails, and they're both the same email. I am just a governor of Oklahoma. I have no power to pardon any prisoners or stay of execution or influence judicial matters in any way. And I swear to God, not one fucking month after those letters, he goes and puts a stay of execution on that Julius kid, that murderer dude. Yeah. So, Governor, yeah. I'm just at a fucking loss for words on that one. This state pisses me the fuck off on a royal level. This country is getting that way too. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm saying I'm on side A or side B. I hate both sides equally. I think it's time to, yeah. It's time to change everything. In the Urantian world, the slave becomes the master. I'm tired of being a slave. If you have no rights, no privileges of the classes who are above you, then you are a slave. If you were seized by abusive force and put into a position of servitude, you are a slave. I am the technical definition of a slave. Can't tell people that though. They don't want to hear it. I told someone that on Twitter, and they're like, yet here you are on social media complaining about it. Yeah, after 9 banned accounts, my 10th one that didn't get banned yet is my privilege. Thank you for letting me point that out. Yeah, and all these Twitch users over here thinking they know it all. Twitch politics is like the worst of the worst. I mean, seriously. It's like watching TikToks about pronouns. It's bullshit. The weird thing is people actually believe the shit they spew. That's what gets to me. It's like, if you actually believe that shit, then you got problems. About to finish this up here, and then we twist this one like this, and then we go down, up, down, up, down, up. And I'm done. Yeah, see, I've grown to know the Rubik's Cube inside and out. I love these things, but yeah, it'll take me a while. I'm not one of those speed cube junkies, but I can finish a Rubik's Cube. They're pretty fun. I like to mess them up again and see how fast I can resolve it. It's something I have to do with the algorithm and how many times you do that algorithm. But yeah, check this shit out. Let's see. This one dude, he did it in like 4.5 seconds or some shit like that. Fastest Rubik. Come on. Here we go. Well, yeah, this thing's fun. Anyone can learn it. If you know the algorithm, anyone can finish this. Anyone. See, I can't do that. Because of that, my fingers won't allow me to do that.
Come on, get some fun.
All right. My next paycheck, I think I'm gonna go ahead and pay for DDO again. Get all my characters back that require cash, and I think I'll see Thelanis, right? I'll see you soon. I promise.
Most people are familiar with the Rubik's Cube, but very few of them have actually solved it. And that's because if you don't know the moves, the Rubik's Cube is one of the most difficult mainstream puzzles ever created.
Frankly, the 3x3x3 is too hard. Okay, it really is.
Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that there are literally billions of ways to scramble this thing. But what's equally incredible is that with a few weeks of dedicated practice and a little bit of memorization, most people can learn to solve any of those scrambles in a few minutes. But there are some people who can solve it even faster. A lot faster. They're called speed cubers, and the best of them can whip a Rubik's Cube into shape in well under 10 seconds. As if that weren't impressive enough, the single fastest solve ever recorded in competition is a ludicrous 3.47 seconds. But could that time go down? Today, we're going to look at why solving a Rubik's Cube in under 3 seconds is almost impossible. To find out what it takes, I spoke to a world record holder, got a crash course in technique from some local speed cubers.
Now the problem here is he noticed that things here on the edge don't match.
Problem here is that I don't even see that that's a problem here.
And talked about the mind-boggling math behind the cube with a computer scientist.
There are more positions on the Rubik's Cube than there are grains of sand on all the rest of the puzzle.
The Rubik's Cube was invented by Hungarian architect Bruno Rubik in 1974. It actually started out as an experiment.
Rubik wanted to know if it was possible to design a cube made of smaller blocks that could move independently without falling apart. It was only later that he realized he also created a puzzle. And that puzzle got very popular. It wasn't long before people were competing to see who could solve it fastest. At the first World Rubik's Cube Championships in 1982, competitors took up to a minute to solve the cube. But speed solvers like world record holder Felix Zemdegs have been chipping away at those times ever since.
I've been to almost 100 competitions all around the world, broken a bunch of world records, and won a bunch of world championships.
One round in competition consists of 5 solve attempts. A computer randomly generates the scrambles to make sure they're difficult enough, and each competitor solves the same 5 scrambles.
You get asked, are you ready? They'll take off the cover, and then you have up to 15 seconds to look at the cube and start the timer. So you get that time to look at it, then you have to place your hands down on the timer, and then solve the cube, and then return your hands to the stack that timer.
Now is probably a good place to mention that die-hard cubers actually care more about average times than single solves. Fact is, sometimes you just get a lucky scramble. A better
Yeah.
case of a speed cuber's skill
The lucky
is to have
scramble
solved
happens to
5
me a lot.
and average the 3 middle times. Zemdegs currently
Hell, sometimes the cube solves itself without me even acknowledging that I'm doing something.
Single solve times still matter. And Zemdegs used to hold that record too, with a time
This one
of
is not a
4.22
speed cube because it
seconds. That was
twists.
until Chinese speed cuber Yu
Fucking,
Shengdu demolished it last fall with a time of 3.47 seconds.
So how unexpected was it for somebody to come along and break your single solve record by like 3/4 of a second?
That was pretty unexpected, to be honest. Like in speed cubing, you don't often see those sorts of insane jumps in time. You can still get a really incredibly quick solve just on one attempt if you have an easy scramble and a bit of luck. And it just so happened that, you know, there's so many people going to so many competitions all the time that something like this was probably bound to happen, but we didn't really expect it that soon.
Okay, so let's put speed cubing aside for a second, because a lot of people, myself included, have never solved the Rubik's Cube at all, in any amount. And that's because truly solving one, like from scratch, without any help from anybody, without watching any online tutorial videos, it's really, really hard. The truth is, if you see somebody solving a Rubik's Cube, they are almost definitely using a memorized sequence of moves
Yeah.
to do it.
This is Tyson Mao. He's a co-founder of the World Cube Association, and I asked him to teach me the basics.
I would say there are probably 3 things to think about in terms of what makes someone fastest on the cube. The first one is the method.
There are many methods for solving a cube, but they all rely on something that cubers call algorithms, memorized sequences of moves that players use to solve the cube section by section. Now, as a rule of thumb, the more algorithms you know, the fewer moves you'll need to solve the cube. A beginner who has committed fewer than 10 algorithms to memory might solve a cube in, say, 120 moves, while an expert who has memorized hundreds of algorithms can solve the cube in closer to 50 or 60 moves. And as you might expect, fewer moves can translate to faster solves.
The second thing that contributes to how long it takes
I
to
only
solve
know the 10
is how
algorithms.
fast you can turn the cube.
The fastest speed cubers in the world average around 10 turns per second over the course of an entire solve, and a lot more than that in short bursts. Take this 16-move finishing sequence, for example.
It looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 with this reading finger. 5, 6, 7, 8. And now you gotta push back with this reading finger. 9, 10, 11, 12, pull. 13, 14, 15, 16, push. The top people can execute those 16 moves in under 1 second.
Are you serious? That's amazing.
The third thing that contributes to how long it takes to solve a cube is how long it takes you to process the information. It doesn't help you if it takes you 5 seconds to figure out what the next step is. Your goal is to try to look ahead and see what the moves for the next step are while you're doing it.
I can't do that.
You see the pause between those steps.
And then there's the hardware itself. As you can see, there are lots of different types of 3x3 cubes. From the old school version, which was clunky, stiff, and hard to turn, to fancy new models that spin with ease and include tiny magnets to help the faces snap into position.
The actual hardware itself has evolved to the point now where it's really, really good. Like if you give me a cube from 5 years ago, it's probably taking off like a second off my solve time.
If you're going to be a good cuber, back in the day, you had to learn how to prepare a cube and make it good. And so that would involve is you take the cube apart, you know, if there are imperfections, you might sand some of those things down. You lubricate it with some silicone, let it dry, put it back together, re-sticker, and, you know, adjust the tension on the screws. It was a big effort. Over time, as more manufacturers entered the space, cubes just got a lot better quality. So the kids these days, they don't know how good they have it. But the improvement in the cube technology has caused a change in some of these ergonomics. That move that I showed you earlier, there was absolutely no way you could make a turn with this fourth ring finger. The way that people turn the cube and the hand movements that people use evolved as a result of cubes getting better.
So Mao taught me a method for solving the cube that he shows cubers. Following his instructions, it took me 45 minutes to solve the cube for my very first time.
What?
I think if you spent the next 2 weeks on this, you'd probably get your time down to about 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Okay. I'm going to try to get to a point where I can solve the cube consistently using the method Tyson's giving me today under 90 seconds. And we'll see how that actually So I took my new cube and got to practicing. In the first few days, I went from needing around 20 minutes to solve the cube to just under 3. Not bad for a newbie, but that's still an eternity for someone like Tiffany Chien, a local speed cuber who averages just under 10 seconds per solve. She's so good, she can solve a cube blindfolded and one-handed. Just solve a Rubik's cube with one hand more than 3 times faster than I can solve it with a cube. When you pick up a cube, you don't look the way I look when I pick up a cube, which is like it's manic. You are actually not going full tilt.
Oh yes, definitely. My hands can definitely move faster than like my brain can during the solve. So it's limited not by how fast my hands can, than like what my brain can see, what my eyes can see.
So are you exercising that kind of restraint throughout the entirety of the solve?
So my strategy in competition is definitely to like solve it as smoothly as possible, like with no pauses. Because I find that if I try to turn quickly when you're nervous, I'll turn very quickly.
I had her critique my solving method. Damn, that's a slow one. 1 minute 41 seconds. Okay, so do you have any tips based on that? For starters, she said I should try opening with a more efficient move.
The second tip is more general for the entire solve. I noticed that you spend a lot of time like turning the whole cube around, or like using your whole hand to turn the cube around. So like while you're doing the second layer, you see the piece over here, so you go like this or something. But you can see pieces that are like on the other side of the cube, so you shouldn't need to do so many rotations of the whole cube.
So given what we've learned about speed cubing, what is the low limit? How fast can we go? To figure that out, it helps to understand some of the math behind it. And for that, we turn to computer scientist Tom Ricicki.
There's 43 billion positions, which is 43 quintillion, right? So it's really a big number.
Ricicki has been fascinated with the cube ever since he was a kid. And around the turn of the millennium, he started puzzling over one of the great unanswered questions. This is a little confusing, stick with me. Of those 43 quintillion configurations, there are some of them, like this, that are very easy to solve. If I handed you the cube in this state, you know that it takes just one move to resolve. But most of the scrambles on the cube are a lot more complicated. So the question that Ricicki wanted to answer is this. What is the maximum number of moves that would ever be required to solve it, no matter how scrambled it is? Mathematicians call that figure God's number, and it went unknown for more than 30 years until Ricicki and his colleagues figured it out.
We used a really fast program with all sorts of clever tricks to let us solve about a billion positions a second. And then we used a billion seconds of computer time. Now, a billion seconds of computer time sounds like a long time, and really it is. Except for if you've got thousands of computers, it's a lot less.
So what is God's number when it comes to the Rubik's Cube? 20. No matter how complicated this scramble gets, you are never more than 20 moves away from being completely solved. and it's
Really?
usually less than that.
Almost all positions require fewer than 20 moves. 18 is the most common. So your typical scramble you're going to get from your timer is going to take 18 moves to solve out of the way.
Now, you'll remember that the fastest speed cubers on Earth average about 10 turns of the cube per second. If you divide God's number, which remember is never more than 20, by 10 turns per second, then you get solve times of 102 seconds. And look, here's proof that it is physically possible to solve one minute. In fact, this robot can solve it in under 1. So, from a purely mathematical standpoint, a sub 2 second solve by a human should be possible. There's just 2 problems with that line of thinking. First of all, just because a computer can quickly identify the fewest number of moves to solve a cube doesn't mean a human can match it.
There's nobody out there that can look at this cube and say, I'm 18 moves to solve, and this one takes me to 17. That's just not something which humans can do.
And second, even if a human could look at a cube and quickly identify the fewest number of moves required to solve it, there's no telling whether performing that sequence of moves would be any faster than their usual. That's because there can be a trade-off between the number of moves it takes to solve a cube and the speed at which you can execute those moves.
Ultimately, solving a cube requires executing physical moves, and the faster that you can execute those moves, the less time it takes to solve it.
But it's not as simple as minimizing the number of moves.
And it's not, ergonomics and other things come into play. So one example is, this state, which you notice that there are 3 stickers here that are not solved. We call this case the U permutation. And originally when people were solving this, there was a 9-move sequence that looked like this. This is how people were solving it. But then over time, I want to say around 2004, 2005, an 11-move sequence became more popular because it was just faster to execute. You want to minimize the number of moves, but you also want to be able to make those moves quick.
So what do speed cubers think the limits actually are?
People have asked me to speculate what the world record will eventually reach, and every time I've speculated, I've been wrong. So I'll take another shot at it again. I think low 5s is probably, at least from an average, maybe 5.5.
As for the limits of a single solve,
The next 5 years, I would expect probably something under 3 seconds, given there's enough chances. On my best ever single solve at home in practice is like 3:01, but then there's a couple of people who've done them under 3 at home. Again, just pretty much depends on luck. Like, probably I can do a 2.5, but it's just when will it happen.
faster times will come down to a combination of luck, improvements in hardware, the development of more efficient methods, and smoother execution. As for me, for 2 weeks I brought a Rubik's Cube with me everywhere I went and practiced at least 20 minutes a day. I got my single solve time down to 59 seconds, and my best 5 solution average down to 1 minute 8 seconds. So I actually made a ton of progress, and you probably could too. While I'm never going to compete with any of the world's fastest speed solvers, that's totally fine. Because what they're doing is already almost impossible.
Hi everyone, my name is Phil. Today I'll be teaching you how to solve the 3x3 Rubik's Cube using an easy method. This method is easy because it's broken down into small steps, each with an obvious and well-defined goal. The method is designed to minimize intense thinking and memorization. In fact, the only thing you really have to memorize is one 4-move sequence and several applications of it. After watching this video, you will be able to solve the cube and also be able to teach others as well. Before we go into the method of solving the cube, let's explore some basics and background info. This is a 3x3 cube. For the purposes of our tutorial, there are 2 ways to visualize this puzzle. First is side by side. This cube has 6 sides, each with a different color. The centers of these sides act as swivels, and they stay put relative to each other. For example, no matter how much I mix up the cube, the yellow side will always be opposite of the white side. Secondly, you can think of the cube as layers. You can think of layers like stories in a building. Each layer sits on top of one another, except for, of course, the bottom layer. Here, the terms we will use to describe the layers goes as follows. The first layer is on the bottom, and the last layer is on the top. The middle one is what we call the second layer.